This first topic video of the 2010 season will deal with the new rule involving formation of an illegal wedge. On kickoffs, it is illegal for three or more players to align shoulder to shoulder within 2 yards of each other with the purpose of blocking. The wedge rule does not apply on obvious onside kicks, and we do not want to foul for an illegal wedge if the play results in a touchback. The penalty for this action is 15 yards from either the spot where the illegal wedge forms or the dead ball spot, whichever is worse. We'll look at examples from plays where the actions of players would be a foul under this new rule, as well as actions that are not fouls and that we do not want called. We'll also discuss what our basic mechanics are regarding responsibility for making this call. In this first section of plays, we want to give you some examples of actions that demonstrate the new rule on illegal wedge formation so that you will know what to call if you see it. These are all examples of illegal wedge formations because they meet the two requirements of shoulder-to-shoulder position within 2 yards, and there are three or more players forming the illegal wedge with the intent to block. Because an illegal wedge forms either while the ball is in the air or shortly after the return starts, the primary responsibility for making this call will rest with the head linesman and line judge, with secondary assistance from the referee when the action happens in front of him and when he does not have ball or receiver responsibility. This is a play example where the referee, by being just a little bit deeper, would probably be in good position to see both the catch by the receiver as well as to assist the head linesman and line judge in making the call for this illegal wedge formation. Here the referee will need to stay with the ball and follow the receiver out of the end zone, winding the clock. The head linesman and line judge need to be aware of the formation of this illegal wedge at the 10-yard line. From the end zone view, the referee can look upfield once he clears the catch and should be able to see the three-man illegal wedge moving forward in front of the ball carrier. It does not matter in which direction they move after forming the wedge. As can be seen on this play, the movement by the players is to the side. Also on this play, the play ends behind the spot where the illegal wedge is formed, and therefore the enforcement here would be from the 4-yard line. Here the receiver musts the ball in the vicinity of the goal line, so the referee will have to stay with the ball, and the illegal wedge on this play will need to be picked up by the head linesman or line judge. Crews need to spend time reviewing video of kickoffs so that our mechanics of coverage are comprehensive. In this example, the illegal wedge forms, and we have a foul even though the players eventually separate before contact is made. Remember that this is a non-contact foul for the formation of the wedge, regardless of whether or not contact is eventually made by players within the wedge. The referee here may want to move to his right while the ball is in the air to have a better angle to help with this call since the kick is short. In this final play in this section, we will see an initial formation of two legal two-man wedges. Then they come together to form an illegal four-man wedge. The two double-team pairs is okay, but the four-man formation shoulder to shoulder is illegal because they are moving forward to block together even though they eventually separate. An area we want to cover and have all officials understand is that when we have a touchback, whether it occurs simultaneous with the formation of a potentially illegal wedge, or if there is a delay because the runner may run in the end zone where the ball is eventually declared dead, we do not want a foul called for an illegal wedge. Other fouls which may occur during a kickoff that ends in a touchback are still enforced by rule. But when we have a touchback, we do not want a foul called for an illegal wedge formation. On both of these plays, we have action that would normally be considered an illegal wedge, but the Rules Committee does not want a foul called if the play results in a touchback. In our final section, we want to look at actions that are legal and do not create a violation of the illegal wedge rule. The most common situation will be when players, through the normal pursuit on a kickoff, simply converge at the point of impact. A snapshot could be taken at any moment that might show three or more players together, but that is not the intent of this rule. All of the plays in this third section of the video demonstrate actions that, while they may look suspicious, do not present the combined elements of formation, time, and movement with the intent to block. On this next play, we see a pair of double teams, one behind the other. It is only at the last moment that the double team in the back moves up and seeks out different defenders to block. This is not three or more players getting together with the intent to block, but just the incidental convergence of multiple players on different defenders, and this is not a foul. This is what will occur on most kickoffs and what we don't want to confuse with an illegal wedge. Players are going to converge in the area where the return is set up, so don't misinterpret this as an illegal action. On this play, the players are simply not together and moving forward together long enough for a foul. Because this can look so deceptive depending on the angle, the national philosophy of this rule is that when in question about whether or not an illegal wedge is formed, it is not a foul, and there is not a foul for an illegal wedge formation on this play. While this might look like three players forming a wedge, they are not close enough together and do not form together with the intent to block. This is just too quick and does not present the elements of time and intent to be a foul. This is more clearly seen from the end zone angle, and why we have to consider all the elements necessary in order to throw a flag. Remember, if you have to think if it's long enough to form an illegal wedge, it's not. Our final example of legal plays involves the pooch kick, in which you will see the normal and expected convergence of multiple players into the area where the pooch kick lands. Rarely will there be enough time nor intent for the elements of an illegal wedge to form. So while we want to always be aware of the possibility of a wedge forming on these types of plays, what you are more likely to see is the effort by players to recover the ball as quickly as possible and just get as much yardage as they can. The CFO hopes this video will help coaches, players, and officials have a better understanding of the new illegal wedge rule so that we can hopefully avoid this action, but also so that it can be consistently officiated.